Welcome to the Edge of NFT podcast with your hosts, Jeff Kelly, Ethan Janney, and Josh Krieger. We aim to bring you not only the top 1% of what's going on with NFTs today, but what will stand the test of time. We explore the nuts and bolts and the business side, but also the human element of how NFTs are changing the way we interact with the things that we love. This podcast is for the futurists and dreamers, the disruptors and creators, the fans and connectors, and the makers and doers that are pumped about this ecosystem and driving where it goes next.
Word on the street is we have some top hot topics to hit. Ethan, what do you say?
I say, let's go get some barbecue. No, sorry. The first one, Twitter founder Jack Dorsey's first tweet offered for not $4.8, $4.8 million, no, 48 million on NFT marketplace. A digital copy of the first ever tweet by Twitter Inc. co-founder Jack Dorsey has been offered for almost 48 million on OpenSea, 16 times what the owner paid for it a year ago. Sina Estavi, chief executive officer of the Malaysian blockchain service Bridge Oracle, announced on Twitter that he'd put the NFT version up of the March 21, 2006 tweet saying, "Just setting up my Twitter up for sale for 14,969 Ether. He paid 2.9 million for it in March last year." Hey, you know, as is the tradition with OpenSea, you can price anything however you like. I just don't know if this is going to happen unless he's got a buyer lined up or something. I don't know. You're going to go for it. Nobody mentioned that in their "what would you buy if you could buy anything in the world" Jack Dorsey's first tweet.
Yeah, there's a lot of other things that I could spend that kind of money on that doesn't involve a tweet. Is there utility? Do I get to like own Twitter if I buy the tweet?
That's funny, right? It doesn't seem like there's even any utility. That's, yeah.
Maybe you get to sit on the board with Elon. Yeah, who knows?
Well, Elon turned it down.
Oh, he did.
So he did.
He turned the board seat down.
He did.
Or
Yeah.
the NFT.
Okay.
Oh, the board seat. Okay, yeah.
The board seat. The board seat.
So
Interesting.
I think there's some context there. Well, first of all, I would rather buy some Twitter stock over by far above this, but you know, when you have a board seat, my understanding, and don't quote me on this, guys, is that you're restricted to a maximum of 15% of the company in terms of acquisition. So there may be some foreshadowing there to why he turned that down.
It's interesting.
I thought you were going to say you're restricted to a maximum of 15 tweets or something. Like, well, that's not fair.
Oh, Elon's in trouble then. If that's
Yeah,
the case.
this isn't going to work out for me.
He needs to pump up more Doge, man.
Exactly. Yeah, interesting move there. Yeah, and look, you can list an NFT for anything. Maybe there's something to just grabbing the headline where there's a bunch of eyes on Twitter right now with so many fun things happening. So you never know. I mean, hey, the price may have gone up just based on that action on Twitter anyway, right?
It's a good point. The NFT at least holds the value that it can make headlines and, you know, make the news by just being posted on OpenSea. So it's got that level of
Jamie,
PR.
write that in your marketing handbook. price in Izumi at like 1 million Ether just to get headlines.
Yeah,
Hey,
love it.
We'll be talking about it, guys. Nice.
All right.
Done.
Next on the block here, crypto trading platform eToro launches $20 million NFT fund as industry approaches inflection point. Interesting. The fund will support new digital art and a first step toward broader expansion of NFT investment services. Pushing into NFTs will allow the company to expand and diversify its investor base and business partnerships, according to U.S. Managing Director Guy Hirsch. Well, I guess, yeah, this makes sense. You know, who knows? I'm actually thinking of companies like eToro, they could have done this sooner, I suppose, right? But it certainly makes sense at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was
and
wondering why they were, because we had a lot of discussions with them and have seen them at a lot of events recently, and there really hasn't been much in way of announcements about their activity in the NFT space. And I think we were a little curious, based on some of those conversations, as to what their moves would be. What are they going to be doing in the NFT space? They showed a lot of interest in a bunch of different contexts, so it's cool to see them announce this and actually got to dip their toes in. It's not a huge fund, but one that's big enough to start to move the needle, especially if it's a smaller set of companies that they are involved with.
yeah, and for full disclosure, they did decide to be one of our partners for NFT LA, and had a chance to meet the team, and can share just authentically their passion is there for the creator economy to support and drive inclusivity and comprehensive sort of possibilities for creators. And I think that's a fairly strong point of view for a company that some may perceive as more traditional in nature. And I think it speaks to a broader trend when it comes to bigger companies, whether they're crypto native or non-crypto, entering the NFT space, that you cannot enter the space without sort of considering the cultural side, and the cultural side begins with creators.
Yeah, the article goes on to say NFTs from some of the blue chip projects in eToro's collection already go for a minimum of hundreds of thousands of dollars on OpenSea. Maybe they could pick up Jack Dorsey's tweet and they'll have something to go for even more. I don't know, just an idea.
I love seeing this money go to creators. I think the more money that can get, pushed into creators like that, we're just going to see more and more interesting innovations in the world of NFTs. It's really exciting.
Yeah, the idea of a fund is it's something that is very interesting too. Just NFT funds and where that goes, and it's cool to see it. Yeah. Next on the block here, world's largest NFT marketplace opens its doors to Solana blockchain, as we kind of alluded to there earlier. OpenSea has announced a release of the official beta that integrates the Solana blockchain into the world's biggest marketplace. It's a Twitter account stated on April 7th that the Solana blockchain NFTs will be able to be traded. For Solana's integration, the OpenSea marketplace mostly consists of Ethereum-based NFTs, along with Polygon and Klatin blockchains. Cool. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that they're expanding. It's interesting to see the trends and patterns. Just from firsthand accounts, I think I've tried to trade Polygon NFTs on OpenSea, and it's been a little bit of a headache. In getting one recently of some art of a friend that I really enjoyed, I just ended up using a credit card just because I was having such a hassle of like converting and waiting for this and that. But it's cool to see these different blockchains making it to such a large audience that you can reach on OpenSea.
Yeah, I mean, Magic Eden has been the only player in town when it comes to trading Solana and on NFTs in a major way, and it'll also be interesting to see what happens here with that dynamic. Magic Eden has shared some of their stats at NFTLA, and they've just been growing like crazy. There's definitely a diehard Solana NFT audience. Is it the same audience that trades other NFTs? Are they loyalists to Solana, and thus they'll be more loyal to Magic Eden? These are some of the things that I'm curious about. Joe, you just traded a Solana NFT. What's your thoughts on sort of this dynamic and where it might be going next?
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see what kind of market share OpenSea takes from Magic Eden. I mean, Magic Eden, like you said, is the only player really in the space, and Solana has a pretty large and strong community with NFTs. Like I know a couple people that came from the gaming space. That's all they do. They only trade Solana NFTs. There's a big issue with typical NFT space where everybody mints something at one Solana and then lists it again at 0.9 and just decide to take a haircut right off the rip, which makes no sense. But it's kind of par for the course. But yeah, I'm curious to see where this kind of goes from OpenSea doing it. I mean, it makes sense. Is the next logical step. The way I look at it, OpenSea is trying to be the biggest marketplace for NFTs across the board. and kind of own the space. So we'll see if they can do it.
Yeah, I like the Magic Eden play. And because like with a lot of these blockchains, they're relying on a marketplace to be able to be traded on. So I like one where there's something exclusive, to support that blockchain. I think that's a good business decision on behalf, whether they create it themselves or not. These chains that want to, they're trading to be heavily supported, to either create their own trading platform or heavily invest in or support some third party that is really exclusive to their NFTs, to really make it easy, right, for users.
Yeah, I found Magic Eden's platform to be pretty good, to be honest with you. There's been some issues on minting during their launch pad, but a lot of that was just network congestion for Solana in general, not necessarily on Magic Eden, from my experience. Typical for even OpenSea when doing stuff on Ethereum. But yeah, I mean, I think their platform is a bit sexier, to be honest. I like the color, I like the look, I like the UI. It's pretty easy to figure stuff out. And to your point, I mean, kind of having stuff separated that's kind of in more of a niche area was also a lot easier, because I don't have to, go through a funnel of Ethereum NFTs that have like absolutely no value.
Well, there's a culture too to like Solana and Magic Eden, whereas OpenSea, the name often says it all when you say the name. It's just kind of like open sea, right? It's not there's like a little bit of this G-Gen culture that of course is going to be there, and a little bit of just general culture on the homepage. But I think when you look at something like Solana, and with the people that I meet that are excited about Solana, there's like a community around it that OpenSea in general doesn't have. Well, at least not that I've seen firsthand, like an OpenSea community or something, right?
Yeah, completely agree with you.